What's up, you guys? This video is long overdue. This is the Palmetto State Armory AK556. I'm going to go over how I have it set up, how I like it, how it's been wearing with the 700 round count I have on it right now. I'm going to pull out the parts, strip it, let you guys check it out, and see how it actually looks on the inside. And I'm going to go over what kind of magazines and everything that I've been running with it, and the way I like it the most. In this configuration, I found that I like it the most, minus the O-light, but I'll get into that in a little bit here. So I'm going to go over what I have on this rifle first, but before I do all that, I'm going to explain how I even came into contact with this rifle. Now, I am an affiliate through Palmetto State Armory. I got a hold of them, and I asked them if I could review, I think it was the Palmetto State Armory AK104 was the first gun I reviewed.
Good shooting, buddy. Good shooting.
This would be the second gun I reviewed. Now, Palmetto will let you review their stuff, but you don't get to keep it. As I still have this gun, you only get 45 days to review said firearm, whichever one you want to pick. And after that 45 days, you either send it back or you buy it. And this one, just like the AK104, I like so much I had to buy. Now, after the 45 days, if you do want to buy it, yes, I do get a discount, but it's only like a few $100s off. Palmetto always has screaming deals and stuff like that. So, like I said, without getting off too much into the weeds with all that, I'm going to get into what I have on this rifle first. So, right here, this rifle, I'm going to show what came configured on a rifle and then what I put on the rifle. So, this came on the rifle. This would be the JMac buffer tube. This came on the rifle with the MOE stock. Right, so this is the fixed trunnion, so it's not a side folder or nothing like that, just regular old fixed trunnion. So it came with the MOE Magpul pistol grip. I swapped it out for the K2. The K2 is a much more vertical pistol grip. I like that. It's my preference. I'm a SIG guy. So moving past that. Now, being right here on the trigger, we're gonna talk about the trigger real quick. I tried to put in an ALG. I tried to put in a CMC. Neither would fit in. Now, one of you guys did hop on my comments and say that I could shave down the hammer. You guys have already done this. One of you guys have already done this. Shave down the hammer. And yes, that is possible. And I'll show that later on in the video. And that would be very, very possible. I don't have the time to do that yet. But I found out that this trigger, it has like your standard pull, I would say probably 5 to 7 pounds, but the reset is hardcore. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything different about this trigger than their standard Palmetto trigger, but this thing has a really nice reset, so I kind of just kept it on there. I haven't been too worried about the ALG. Now, moving down to this contraption, I'm not even sure what to call this. I'm just going to call this the lower AR-15 piece, because this is the only real piece that kind of resembles an AR-15. So you got two different positions you can take down the magazine with, right? I'm sorry, that you can take out the magazines with. You got the bottom lever right here, kind of like your traditional AK magazine, which I'm not too fond of that, because with one of these, I mean, you need like your rock and lock, because you can kind of put your thumb right here and slap out the magazine. This one seems to make more sense, but they both work, one and the same. So as you can see, I push in that one, this one moves. Over here on this side, you also have your bolt hold open takedown. So that goes for if you want to hold this guy up and then pull back the bolt. Now we got a takedown, right? I'm sorry, now we got the bolt held open. So all you gotta do is push down on this, and that brings the bolt home. The bolt carrier home, I'm sorry. So that's pretty cool, I think. I tend to like that a lot. So nextly, we got Krebs Customs Ambi Safety Selector. I'm a left-handed guy, and you know, if you watch my videos, you know that I'm lefty, and I like to try to configure all my stuff to be left-handed, but my son's also right-handed, so I try not to go too much into the weeds with the left-handed stuff because he also has to manipulate these firearms too, and I don't want to set him up for failure. So this is ambidextrous. It is a little bit harder for him to use, but he still gets around it. Next, we got the TWS. I love TWS. Some people hate them. I love them. I've never had an issue with them. One thing for sure, whenever you're going to get the TWS, get the rear peep sight. That's a necessity. The rear peep sight goes really good with this Vortex 5x prism. That's what this guy is right here. You can actually get your irons right up underneath this because this thing already comes ready for the Venom on top, so you can put a red dot up top. But instead of spending extra money on a prism that's already pretty decent, you don't have to buy that red dot. You can just go right up underneath with the high rise and use your irons underneath it. That's pretty dang sweet. This one also comes with a side mount option. That's awesome. And obviously you got the Soviet Arms handguard with the gas tube, and you can also put a red dot up here. That's pretty sweet too. Now, on the Soviet Arms, you have your M-lock and all that good jazz, and you got your QD options right here, which is pretty cool, and you still have your sling loop right here with the BCM. So that's pretty much it. I think I mentioned the Olight. The only thing I don't like about Olights is their switches. That's it. You know, the hand switch you put right here, you put that guy up there, and sometimes it just doesn't work. I go to turn the light on. Get into the actual rifle now. Go ahead and take down the TWS. Okay, so here's your bolt. I'm not seeing any issues with 700 rounds on this bolt. Now, 700 rounds isn't that much for an AK, but you know, some AKs wear pretty prematurely. This AK, for the most part, seems to be wearing pretty dang good. The only sharp piece I feel is right here in the channel lug. So that's going to be this guy right there. And what that means is that channel lug right here rides in the channel. So this channel lug, you stick this guy in there, and that rides in there like so. So you're going to get that violent motion of in battery and then out of battery. So that's a lot of your wear right there. That's where a lot of your wear is going to come from. Now the extractor looks good. The big point of contention is how is the firing pin going to set up? I'm sorry, how is the firing pin going to last? Because I've went through so many firing pins on my AK103, the Palmetto firing pins. I'm sorry, I'm exaggerating a little bit. I went through 3 firing pins on my Palmetto State Armory AK103. And the only reason why I went through 3 is because I had 2, and then I actually bought a Apex. So it was like I think it was an East German or something like that, or if it was a Romanian, I'm not 100% sure, whatever country it was from. I got it after the second time, but then I had to send the rifle back in because I got a big chip in the trunnion on my 103. And whenever they sent it back to me, I got another Palmetto firing pin, and then I used that one, and then it ultimately broke too. So that was a big issue. So this thing does look pretty good. I'm not seeing no super bad wear on here, or nothing that's really eye-catching, or I don't feel nothing on these gloves, like I said, besides this part right here, and that's very, very minimal, as you guys can see. How does the tail end of the bolt carrier look? Looks great. I don't see no deformation at all. This side does look like it's slightly above, but it's nothing crazy for 700 rounds. There's nothing on the inside. It all looks good, guys. The actual inside of the rifle. So, as we could see on that right-handed step over there, I'm sorry, that right-handed ledge, I do have a little tiny step in there. A little tiny step. Now, with the AK103, I do remember getting a step after like 1 to 200 rounds, and that step was super, it was deep, the step on the AK103. So this step on this guy, it don't even look like it's bad at all. And as long as it doesn't get too much more worse, I don't see an issue. But this is how Palmetto rifles pretty much run, you know. This is how they run, is with that step. With the ALG and with the CMCs, you can see the bolt hold open right here. You cannot fit your trigger pins in there because they'll get stuck right here. The trigger, you can't actually slide in the trigger pins. So that's a big issue right there. I'm sure somebody will come out with something as these things become more popular, because they are pretty popping right now. Everybody wants one, and rightfully so. These things are gassed so perfectly, man. Like, this rifle is stupid. Like, there's no recoil to it whatsoever, and it's stupid accurate too. His first time checking out the AK556, so all straight up first impressions right here. Go ahead. What you think about that recoil, man?
It's like nothing.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Accurate, dude. Accurate. There's only one thing that I wish that Palmetto would do differently with these rifles, and I really wish that they'd make different twist rates. Different twist rates to me is pretty essential. I would love one in a 1 and 8 twist. That way I could shoot heavy and light, because light's cheap. 55 grain ammunition is really cheap to shoot, and that makes sense. With ammunition being higher at the moment. I mean, it's not as high as like 70-80 cents a round, but we're talking anywheres from really, really cheap 30 cents all the way up to 55-60 cents a round, and that's still for cheap ammunition, and that's still pretty expensive compared to 18 cents a round. And yeah, I want to make sure I can stabilize my ammunition with this barrel. Not saying that the 1 and 7 does bad. I know that it could get better groupings if I had a better twist rate for the ammunition that I have stored, is all I'm saying. So right now, the way I have this rifle configured with the Vortex, the TWS, the MOE stock, the handguard with the BCM, it's nice as it's set. There's a few things that I would love to change. Possibly a better light. This isn't my main rifle, so I'm not going to put my best lights on it. This is definitely a mess around rifle until I want to see how it's going to wear. Right up and around 1,500 rounds, I'd say. I'm going to know a lot more about this rifle. Am I going to have firing pin issues, or am I going to have I don't know. I'm not trying to say nothing bad about Palmetto. Let's just see what happens, right? One thing I do wish is that ALG would come out with the actual trigger for this, or CMC. That'd be pretty cool, instead of having to make it fit, pretty much grind it down and make it fit. This thing does take Lancers, PMags, USGI mags, steel magazines. I tried some Amend ones. I think that's pretty much it for magazines that I've ran through this rifle, and they all ran flawlessly. I do not know why Palmetto said to only run PMags. I don't know why at all. I don't know if it's going to hurt the rifle. It's not hurting the rifle. Maybe it just won't hold the other magazines in, or that's what they thought. Or maybe they fixed that issue and I got a later one. But this one is stamped 310. So this is an earlier model. Maybe it's just upgraded and now it can take these magazines. I don't know. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you guys have one of these, let me know how it runs. If you guys are having issues, please let me know with anything Palmetto. Like, I always want to know. They give us Americans an affordable option, reliable option, and a good looking option all in one, at a decent price. And that's unheard of these days. So, all right, you guys, let me know what you guys think. I'd appreciate it. Out.
Alright, so I'm gonna go through 3 guns and see which one recoils the least.